mo.
He's got me walking that grief walk.
Going slow mo.
He's got me talking that grief talk.
Going slow mo.
He's got me clocking the way.
It's the Miami Night Show.
Hey, yeah.
Slow mo.
He's got me walking that grief walk.
Going slow mo.
He's got me talking that grief talk.
Going slow
He's
mo.
got me clocking the way.
What up, Tribe? It's Miami Night Show, Master Grief Coach. Welcome to the Miami Night Show. You got me walking that grief walk. It's time for Grief Talk, y'all.
I talk about things you think about.
It's Miami Night Show, Master Grief Coach.
When their 19-year-old son, Tre, was tragically killed by a senseless act of gun violence, Regina and John faced the storm of a lifetime. Married for only 3 years at the time, they found themselves at a crossroad, experiencing the most unthinkable and unique pain that accompanies the loss of a child. This storm would test their love, marriage, and faith. Now, as authors of After the Storm, they share their story across the country to let others know there is hope. The journey wasn't easy. Their belief in God is what carried them through. They turned their pain into action, giving back to their community by organizing the Tre Devon Lane Foundation, which charitable purpose is to support college-bound students reach their financial goal planning. The duo also supports ordinary people within their community who's doing extraordinary things. Regina and John has partnered with several organizations like Everytown for Gun Safety, Moms Demand Action, Ben's Way, Million Mom March, the Brady Campaign, Cornelius Bokai Foundation, and Not in Our Neighborhood. They have also participated in the 2019 presidential Iowa caucuses and other national gun safety campaigns, continuing the efforts of making
Welcome back, Grief Nation listeners. Today on our show, we have very special guests today, Regina and John Jenkins in After the Storm. It's titled in After the Storm. This is a Everytown Network Survivor Fellow Story Sharing event, and I'm just so grateful to have them both on. Hello, Regina and John. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's very, very unfortunate that any parent has to have these tough conversations, but please tell me and my listeners the circumstances surrounding the loss of your son, Tre Devon Lane.
So on September 22nd, 2012, my life changed forever. My son was sitting on a porch with his friends on a Friday night, as teenagers do. What makes this ironic? I sat on the same porch when I was a child. About 50 feet around the corner is my grandparents' house, a house that I grew up in with love, laughter, and full of memories, being raised by my grandparents. But now that house will forever be tarnished because that's where my son, Tre, laid there on the floor in a pool of his own blood while he waited on the ambulance to take him to the trauma center at Capitol Health. Someone shot into a crowd of people on Friday night, had no regards for life, and took my only child. He was 19 years old. He was in college. He wanted to be a social worker. So that showed you the type of character he had. He was well loved. He was tall, 6'4", a basketball player, and a chick magnet for sure. Those dimples was everything. He can flash them and it would light up the room. He was just my pride and my joy. And someone robbed me of that night. So I talk about my son and I share his story because I am his legacy now. His voice has been silenced. So for me, I need the world to know who Tre Lane was. I have a foundation where we give out scholarships and we honor people in our community for their community service. And me and my husband just recently published, After the Storm, Our Journey Through Grief. It wasn't easy. We want people to know grief is not easy. But we also want them to know you don't have to stay there. There's hope. And people always say, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's a flicker. You can see that flicker, and it'll get you through the tunnel. But you got to kind of crawl your way out of there. Like, it's not going to come to you. You got to go after it, because there were some dark days. So, even my husband, he'll tell you from a man's perspective how he grieved, because men and women do not grieve the same. And a lot of people don't talk about that part of the journey. And for a long time, as I said in my book, I didn't even realize he was suffering in silence. I really didn't realize he was suffering in silence, because I couldn't focus on him, because I was focusing on me, like grieving for my only child, who I loved for 19 years. And I guess it was selfish of me at the time, but I didn't know how to be any other way. And, I said, babe, if you bring me divorce papers, I'll sign them, because I can't be the woman that you married anymore. I'm not her. She's gone. She died the day my son died. And he had to learn me all over again. He had to learn that I wasn't that woman that he walked and saw down that aisle that day. Nope, she's gone. New person, new normal. And he suffered for 3 years living with that. And to the point where he had a break, like he broke down and said, I can't hold it in anymore. And baby, you want to pick that up from that point?
From that point, I basically was like, I said, Tre was my son too. And, dealing with the grief you're taught into when we're men, you uphold the household, you basically, take care of your household, be the provider of the home. You're not to cry, you're to handle everything. And that's basically what how my father taught me how to be a man, to raise and be a provider for my home. So I stepped up and was like, I was basically in protective mode, because I had to protect my wife, because I really couldn't fix it, because we're taught to fix things as men, and it was something that I couldn't fix. And I just had to learn how to deal with her. I had to come to terms to go to a grief counselor and say, I need help, because I need help with my wife to know how to deal with her emotions, to understand her emotions, to be able, so I wouldn't go crazy, because I'm trying to figure out, how I'm going to fix this. Because I'm a construction worker by trade. I'm retired, but that's how I was always taught to fix things. And I couldn't fix this one. And I went to my pastor. I'm like, pray to God, like, God, show me the way that I can be able to get through this with my wife. Because I told her, I said, I'm not going anywhere. Just because you told me to bring you divorce papers, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We made up our own vows, and I said in our vows, I will never leave you. I said, and I'm not going anywhere. I said, because this is where the true test is going to come in at. Absolutely. So when we tell a lot of people that if you're going through grief, it's okay to say you're not okay, and it's okay to get help.
Get help. Because I don't think our marriage could have survived if we didn't go to counseling, because of the magnitude of our tragedy. Tre was taken from us senselessly by act of gun violence, and my baby died a hero saving other people. He sacrificed his life to save 2 girls, to avoid a bigger tragedy. And I'm proud and sad at the same time. So you can be, that mama, everybody say, oh, that's the way you raised him. But I would like to see the man that he would be after he would have graduated from William Patterson University.
Yeah.
So, I'm missing out on those times right now. all of his friends that he grew up with, they're getting married, they have children, they graduated college, and I was like, wow, I wonder what, our son would be doing now, with his degree with social work, and where would he work at it? You just kind of want to know what your child would be doing at this time, because you gave him that right path. Somebody robbed me of that future. Somebody robbed me when they shot into that crowd. So our journey now is to change mindsets, change community. We've been stuck so long living one way, and when they see John and I and what we're doing and helping to bring awareness about the guns and the gun laws, I had a friend say, I asked her, did you ask, do they have a gun in their home? And is it secure? She said, Regina, I never even thought about that.
Trust me, I didn't even coming up. I didn't think of that. I didn't think of asking people when I drop my children off there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, she was like, oh my God, you're absolutely right. And come to find out, there was a gun in the house because it was a police officer.
Yeah.
But I said, is it secure? Ask them, is it secure?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God. She said, you really need to teach. And I do teach. I am a be smart person, to teach that. So, I said, yeah, I have no problem coming and educating your parents, whatever. Yeah. But, that's what me and my husband do now. We try to educate. Yeah. Because if you don't educate, when you know better, you do better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because just like I said, I didn't know these things, but not until I joined moms in every town and start learning the information that they're providing to us, because, really us just bringing kids up, 19, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that education wasn't really there. If it was, it wasn't available to us, for us to know to even ask these questions. So I'm so grateful that you are one of the reps for Be Smart, because that information is so valuable for adults as well as our children. And with this current pandemic and children are being home, it's definitely a conversation to be had, right? Yeah. And I know you touched some on your son, but can you please tell us more about who Tre was and who he is, who he still is?
Tre, my baby was just, he was the love of my life. Like I had him 13 years before John and I got married, but we don't say the word step in our house. There's no step.
Yeah.
We're one unit, one family.
Absolutely.
That's how it is in our household. So even though Tre still had a relationship with his biological father, I felt like my son was blessed to have two great role models. Like I say, some people don't even get one. And I used to tell him, you're so fortunate. You got two men in your life. Like, how awesome is that? Yeah. And to balance it off, and and I used to sit back and I'd be like, pat myself on the back, Dad, you're doing a good job. Like I did. I used to pat myself on the back, because I'd be like, it's hard raising a male child. And then when you do good and you see them going in the right direction, and you just, it's some hurdles. Yeah. But my baby loved basketball. He was actually going to play he was at Mercer County Community College. He was transferring to William Patterson that year. And that fall he wanted to transfer. So basketball was a part of his life. He was on every AAU team. I sat on a lot of bleachers. Lots of bleachers.
We had a lot of fun together.
Yes. Okay. I was technically, what do you call it, the team mom. So I had the Gatorade, the first aid, and the little towels and everything. I said, I have a cooler in the back of my car.
Snacks, everything. Yes. Literally, we travel and she'd be like,
I had parents sending their kids with me. I said, I became that mom, right? So, I and then, I was at it wasn't one thing that I missed from, that growing up for him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had a busy schedule, I would cut out a meeting when it came to him.
Yeah.
I'm not missing anything if he's on the stage or he had a PTO meeting. I would sacrifice my life to go see what he has to do. So if I'm cutting myself short,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, like I gotta go. My son has the basketball game. Like, so I would do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was love the girls.
Yes. Yes.
When I tell you, the teachers used to say, well, Miss Jenkins is not Tre.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what do you mean? He said, they be standing outside waiting for him when he comes out the classroom. I was like, what? They're that aggressive? They'd be like, yes, it's not him. He be on class on time.
Oh, wow.
It's them. They standing outside the door and, and he flashes those dimples and that's all she wrote.
That's it, huh?
And he had dimples on both sides.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, I used to tell him, Tre, Mom do not want grandbabies all over the place. Please.
Uh-oh. Right.
No. He's like, Mom, they just my friends. I said, all of them? He said, just my friends. And I said, are you gay? It's okay. He's like, Mom, no, I'm not gay. I'm like, it's the 21st century. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm that mom. I'm okay if you are. He says, Mom, really? But he said, Mom, I love girls. Okay. But he was just that. He was a jokester, funny. I miss, I think, everything about him. How he used to bust in my room.
Yeah.
And I had my t-shirt, my panties, and then I'd be like, Dad, can I get dressed? He'd be like, Mom, I gotta ask you a question. I'm like, can I get dressed? And then he's gonna say, put some clothes on. I'm like, I'm in my room. I'm in my room. The door was closed.
I know exactly what you mean. That sounds just like my son.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, but he still going to ask the question.
Right, yeah.
Like,
because he just loved you that much. It didn't matter. You're a mom. Yeah.
I used to be like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Those two,
yeah.
I could tell you some stories like when because before I retired, I would have to get up early in the morning. So I would leave to get out. He couldn't wait till I'm going. He'd jump in the bed. And jump in the bed with Mr. John going.
He like a big baby. He want to get in my bed. I know what that means. He want to talk. So I'll be like, who is it and what's her name?
Yeah.
Right. And what is going on now?
Yeah, what's going on? And then I would take him and we go get breakfast or something. It was just like that mommy and me time. It was just, I miss that.
Mom and son time.
It was, we had, I mean, our bond was so crazy. And I remember when we started dating, he didn't know for like almost a year. He just seen him come at my house and he seen him go.
Yeah. And
he think it's my friend because you, like I was telling him, you're not staying over here. I got a son.
Yeah.
Like I'm that role model, right? And he was like, you got to go, bro. That's what I used to tell him, right?
Yeah.
When he's down his father's house, maybe we can play a little bit. Right? Yeah, but no, not
real talk.
So when I finally introduced Tre as John as my boyfriend, he was like, your boyfriend? He said he had questioned him. He said, Mr. John, why you keep bringing my mom flowers every week? He was like 14.
Oh.
He said, my mom don't need flowers every week. He said, well,
okay.
He said, well, when you like a person, you want to show them. He was like, my mom don't need no boyfriend.
Look, we had some time.
Oh,
right.
Said, Tre, that's not nice. He's like, Mom, you don't need no boyfriend. You got me. He said, you don't need no boyfriend.
Of course.
So it was like he just thought John was taking his place. And I was like, no, baby, he will never take your place. Absolutely. And then it was to the point where I remember when John asked me to marry him, my baby wanted to run away. Jesus. He was like 15. He was about to run away. I said, well, people police said, well, you go to private schools. You're not abused.
Right. And
wow.
you didn't run away?
He said, because she's about to get married, right? And it's going to change. I said, I promise you it won't. It will not change.
Right.
And he was like, Mom, I don't want to lose you. So John, I didn't notice at first, but he went to my son and asked him,
oh, that was so nice.
Could he marry me? Baby, you want to tell him about that part?
Yeah, basically it was funny because how it happened, it was all wrapped up around right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I got the family together, and Gina didn't know anything about it. We had went ring shopping, and she was like, "Oh, I love this ring." Took over to Philly, and she was like, she picked it out. All right, great. So I said, I took him out. I said, Tre, let's go out. I said, let's go pick your mom out something real nice. I said, just because gift. He said, what do you mean? What's that? I said, just because gift is when you care about someone, and you just to show to let them know you're thinking about them.
Mm-hmm.
So we jumped in the car. I said, we got to talking. I said, well, we're gonna go eat. I said, it's Men's Day. I said, we're gonna hang out, get something to eat. We're gonna play some basketball. I took him down to one of my buddies. My buddy has a indoor, like small little gym. Mm-hmm. So we played ball down there for about an hour. Uh-huh. And I said, well, let's sit down, let's get some Gatorade. Went to the vending machine. We sat out on the benches. I said, Tre, I want to ask you something. He said, yeah, Mr. John, I'm having a good time. I said, I want to ask you something about your mom. He said, oh, what's wrong, Mr. John? He said, my mom okay? I said, yeah, your mom's great. I said, I just want to let you know that I really, really care about your mom, and I want to ask your mom something, but I want to get your permission first. I said, because you were the man of the house before I came into the picture. Oh. And he was like, he looked at me like I had two heads. He said, what do you mean, Mr. John? I said, well, I want to propose to your mom. Oh, I want to marry your mom. And he was like, he said, wow. He said, for real? He said, Mr. John, he said, you're a good guy. He said, you're a real good guy. You're good to my mom. You're good to me. And I said, I just wanted to find out if it's okay if I can have your mom's hand in marriage. He said, sure, Mr. John. He said, because all you've been is good to me and my mom. And every time I see you, you well-mannered. He said, I see him. I'd be like, you okay? Or I would see him outside playing, or I would ride by where he played basketball at before I would come to Gina's house. Yeah. And he would be playing at the basketball court, and I'd pull over and I'd be like, how was your day? A lot of stuff she didn't even know. Yeah. And then we once after we got married, it was just so funny because that night that I went to get the ring, I had got hit by a cab in Philly. Oh, it was so funny because thank God they were only scratches, but the first person I called him. Mm-hmm. I said, don't tell your mom. I said, because she was going to call me and be like, well, where you at? What's taking so long? Right. I'm in Philadelphia. Yeah. Great. I'm all right. I just had a little boo-boo. I said, I'm getting the batteries and I'm on my way back home now. I said, I'm going to text you. And as soon as I get the park at the house, I said, tell your Aunt Jasmine to turn the music down and I'm coming in. Oh. And it was just so, he was like, I got you. He said, I'm going to be on board. I'm going to help. And it was just so, overwhelming for me that he opened his arms and said, well, I really think you'd be good for our family. Yeah. And I really like that. That was really good for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Now, can you guys explain the complexities of your journey? And I quote this, we face the storm of a lifetime. Talk about the testing of your love, your marriage, and your faith. And just share the details of After the Storm and also where we can purchase your book.
Yes. So coming up with the title for the book, that's how I felt. I felt like a storm, tornado, a hurricane came in, toward my life, but they left us with the cleanup. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know how to put our lives back together. I was angry with God. I was angry with my husband and he didn't do nothing. I was just angry at the world, just angry. It was so hard for me to get past anger. I think I stayed, and there's 7 stages of grief. I think I stayed in angry for a long time. After the numbness wore off, the initial shock and numbness wore off, I had to be faced with the reality. And that's where the quote, growth is necessary. for the progress in your journey came from me. Like that, I had to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I had to stretch myself a little bit in order to, you can't never move past it, but in order to cope with.
Mm-hmm.
I always use the word cope because we need those coping skills or the mechanism to maneuver through life.
Yeah.
Because life doesn't stop because we're grieving. Chase Bank said, hey, we're over here. We still want to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
My light bill said, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you don't pay it, we're going to shut you off. So those things did not stop because I was grieving. So I had to learn kind of how to do both.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to grieve and still be the woman of the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was some things that he took on a lot of my roles. Because if it was up to me, I wouldn't have ate.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like eating.
Mm-hmm.
If it was up to me, I would stay in the bed. I was depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So, he took on a lot of the woman duties, the laundry or whatever, all those woman duty things or whatever.
Yeah.
But, my faith was tested. He had strong faith. Oh my God.
Ooh.
He prayed a lot. When I heard him praying one night, no kidding, he was on his knees and he was praying. I guess I was in the bed just watching TV, whatever. And I heard him praying. And I heard him say, God, my wife is so angry right now. But she doesn't understand, what's going on right now around her. But Lord, I ask you to touch my wife. And I was like, don't pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
God took my only child. Like that's how angry I was. I'm stopping him mid-sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't pray for me.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
And he's like, God, she knows not what she says right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cover my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he took on all of the prayer because I couldn't even pray. I was just that angry I couldn't even pray. To the point where I had to it took me almost 3 years to go to church.
Yeah.
It took me about 3 years to go to church.
And that was in North Carolina.
And when I first went back to church, I never forget the preacher. It was like the service was made for me. They talk about Abraham and Sarah and how she lost her baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why? Like, why this service for me? It was just like I was supposed to have been at that service at that time, listening to that ceremony, like that sermon at that time.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of me wanting to shift my faith,
Mm-hmm.
like to turn it around and to kind of grow in my spirituality.
Yeah.
It really did. Our love was definitely, our marriage, our love was tested. I never say the love was always there, but the marriage was stretched to the limit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he did got on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
And he ain't do nothing.
Yeah.
But everything he did got on my nerves, right? And I just didn't want to be his wife. I didn't want any obligations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it was. I just didn't want any obligation. I just wanted to focus on me. Now, whatever that entailed, and I think for me, was getting me out of the dark space.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was so dark and I didn't want to live. Mm-hmm. So for me, every day was dark. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to concentrate on me. And I felt like I couldn't be his wife at the time. It took too much energy to be his wife. And when I needed that energy to focus on me just getting up out of the hole or just getting up out of the bed
mm-hmm.
or just taking a shower.
Right, absolutely. Now, John, what about you?
Yeah. Boy. Basically, like she said, I took on a lot of my faith really got strong because me and my dad were real close, but my dad's deceased. So mm-hmm. I couldn't really speak out to him to really get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I basically took on a lot of prayer and asked the Lord to just watch over her, cover her, because I had to still figure out I still had to go to work. I still had to like when I went back to work, I was working nights. Mm-hmm. So she would stay with her sister and then I would work so she wouldn't be by herself because I didn't want her to be by herself. because I told her sisters, I don't trust your sister by herself.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so could someone, she'd stay at someone's house until I get off from work in the wee hours in the morning, and I'll come get her, pick her up, or I'll stay there, sleep with her there, and then bring her home in the morning. And then, you know, I'm like, baby, you want to get up, eat? She's like, no, but you have to eat. I was more so that motivation to try to make sure she had a nourishment, make sure she showered. I said, hon, I know we're in this, but we're in this together. I said, we're going to get through this. I said, but it's just a matter of time. So basically, you know, going through that.
You forgot about yourself.
My faith. Yeah. Oh, me and myself. I didn't.
He forgot about himself.
I lost myself in the process of everything because I was just so concerned about my wife. And I thank God for both sides of the family, because when they would call, the main key was when we were sitting here one day and right after we buried Tre, and we was in silence. I said, see, hon, listen, no more knocks, no more phone calls. We have to deal with this head on.
Mm-hmm.
No friends weren't coming. I directed all phone calls and texts through my phone, so she wouldn't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Everybody from colleagues, co-workers, my side of the family, her side of the family, they all checked on her through me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, look, she's okay. You know, they were like, how are you? I said, I'm okay. Don't worry about me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and they were like, no, we're going to bring by food, whatever you need. Yeah. I thank God for her girlfriends, my mom, her mom, just family in general.
Yeah.
Because when I got overwhelmed and overloaded, they were there for me.
They would go shopping.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really was a help. And then when she finally said, hon, I think I wanna celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something. I gave her a 50th birthday party.
Okay.
And she said to me, she was like, I just went over the top because it was like, this was been a long time coming. Yeah. I said, because you came a long way. And I always tell her, I tell her all the time, she doesn't celebrate anything, but I tell her, just look at from where you were to where you are now.
Absolutely.
I said, God has been blessing us so much.
Yeah.
And we've met so many different people to where our lives have changed, and just our outlook on life has changed. You know, we're around a group of people that we do date night. We, you know, and everybody love on one another. But since all this pandemic, we've been checking on one another, texting, and it's love that really lets you know that you're appreciated.
Now, when did you both know that John needed more support, or when you start saying earlier that he was hiding this for so long? So when did that come about to be able to, you know, resurface, when those feelings for him start resurfacing, and then you had to take over? What was happening in that time?
We were going to
a wedding.
We were getting dressed for a wedding, and he was like procrastinating, like getting dressed. And I'm like, we're going to be late. Come on. Like, I'm trying to rush him. But it was like he was in this slow motion. Like, he put on a shoe and stopped. He put on another shoe and stopped. Like, I'm like, come on, we got to go. And it was like, he's like broke down and said, I can't hold it in anymore. And it was just, he just boo-hooed and he just let it all out. Like, it was just like 3 years of buildup.
Yeah.
He was my son too. I loved him. And I've been carrying you for 3 years, and I didn't have a chance to grieve.
Wow.
And I was like, wow.
I wanted to ask that because I want people to realize the signs for men. I mean, we know that they're strong. We know that you barely break down or you don't share really how you feel, but that time and point that you're about to break down, I wanted to have this conversation so you can say this was it. It could be at any given moment. It doesn't have to be a particular thing, place, time. It was so valuable for you to say we were getting ready to go to a wedding, something happy, and you see where it happened.
It's just a trigger. It's just triggered you.
Wow.
And for me as being a man, and we were having a conversation earlier, it's just that I suppress stuff. I try not to. Because I got so much going on and so much that we deal with on an everyday basis. I'm like, for me, from a man perspective, we think that we don't want to be a burden.
Right.
So we actually hold it in. You know it's there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's just you go around it.
Mm-hmm.
You playing tic-tac-toe with it, like my father always used to say.
Mm-hmm.
He would say, get to the point. If you're gonna talk, get to the point. So one another, because I've always watched him and my mother. And when he had something to say, he was like, Lenore, I need to say this, because this has been bothering me.
Yeah.
I tell the same thing to my wife. I say, Gina, I got this going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I feel so much better after you say it,
Yeah.
because it's been building up and building up and building up. So now I'm like, look, I gotta say it,
Yeah.
because it's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not healthy. It gives you heart problems, high blood pressure, hypertension.
Yeah.
It's things that are unhealthy.
Absolutely.
And I want to let men know that it's okay to cry. It's okay to, however you got to seek a person or people that you feel comfortable with. It's okay.
Yes.
And once you find that outlook or that person, that outreach person that you can confine in and talk with, it will feel amazing. Where you can just feel, because you're walking around like you're floating. I'm telling you, when you're burdened down with a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot, I know.
Yeah.
You don't care about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife would tell you, I lost myself.
Yeah.
And to the day, I really did.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for you speaking out as a man, because, a lot of this work, you just see us, the women, advocating on behalf of our loved one. And anytime that there's a male presence out there about gun violence, I'm really appreciative for you just sharing your part of the story, because it's not to say it takes away from anything, but it adds to and the family value of how this affects our lives. And I truly believe if more men speak about it and speak to our younger generation, that, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I do understand that in educating ourselves and our families and our children and our loved ones on actually what's happening, that is just it's a epidemic, as well as the pandemic that we're in, and it's still happening. It's not, it doesn't stop just because we're in a pandemic.
It's still going on.
It's still happening. They're just not talking about it as much, but it's still going on.
Trust me, it's still going on.
Yeah. So that brings me into talking about your advocacy work. Can you speak to that, and how long you've been a part of it, and what's your chapter, and just your experience?
Okay. Well, my experience in it, the reason why, like, I wanted to, because like I sat back and my wife
went first.
I mean,
you tell me how it is first.
I said, you check it out.
Yep.
And report back. You know how we do. I said, the Jenkins, this is how, look, one go out and report back.
Right.
So I was like, she came back and she said, I really think this would be for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So complement the foundation.
It would complement the foundation. And then, as far as me speaking out to the youth, the young men, I tell them, once you pull that trigger, you can't retract that bullet in that chamber.
Yeah.
A bullet has no name on it, and it has no specific destination where it's going unless you know how to shoot. And I tell them, I said, a gun is not a toy.
No.
And it's like, oh, well, Mr. John, you don't understand what we're going. I understand a lot. I understand that you don't pick a gun up to solve a problem.
Absolutely.
I said, I was taught, did you talk about it? You figure it out. We put our hands up and live to see another day. We didn't pick up a gun. I said, we were friends. We were playing 2 days later. I said, you don't kill another person. And they're looking, they're like, well, oh, OG, you've been around, you this, that, because they call me the OG. And I'm like, really? I said, no, my name's Mr. John. I said, I'm not. I said, well, one guy was like, oh, well, that's what my grandpa said. He allows me to call him OG. I said,
oh gosh.
Just dealing with every different type of young man.
Yeah. And
they're like, well, I don't have this. I said, just because you don't have a father figure in your life, you have a strong Black woman or whatever race it is that I speak to, mother that's in your corner.
Yeah.
I said, because you were in her stomach at one time. I said, and she loved you and cared for you, and she still loved you regardless of what the factor or things that you got yourself into in life. She's still your mother.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't ever forget that woman that birthed you still loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, I don't get love. I don't this. I don't that. I said, but you can't look for it in a game.
Yeah.
I said, this is what I'm here for. I said, I love you. I said, I love you like a brother. I said, I love you like my son.
So our advocacy been last year, I think we did over 30 story shares last year. It was like a little burnout, but it was worth the cause. You know, just trying to educate, empower, and talk about grief at the same time, especially when our book came out, because it was so powerful among couples. Because as you know, 1 in 3 couples, they don't make it.
Yeah.
So this happened in our 3rd year of marriage, and here we are 8 years later. So it was a rocky, 8 years, but we here in year 11, and I feel like we're stronger together. We are. I think that even with the advocacy, people see us, they be like, man, you always supporting your wife. I'm like, no, I'm supporting him because today he speaks. They be like, John, you're speaking? And I'll be like, yes, right? They was like, she don't threw you out there in the water.
It's beautiful though. It's Black love outside of it being, this horrible thing and this incident that happened to your family, but it's Black love. And that's what I appreciate so much with having a couple on today, because the dynamic of the family structure that gets broken down when we lose our loved one, no matter if it's our son or if it was the husband, or it tears families apart.
And I wanted people to know that, every Black, I didn't want my son to be a statistic, just a number.
Yeah.
And, he came from a single mother, but he had a family structure.
Which is a difference.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
And I said, I chose to be single, okay, at that time. But he still had a father that was taking care of him.
Yeah.
And then when he met my husband, we had a dynamic structure, family. So it was like he was, if you could say, abundantly loved. Okay. So he had all his 2 dads and me.
Right.
And it was just heart-wrenching, and somebody robbed me for it. And it's like his legacy means so much to me. It gives me my purpose, my passion, which is the advocacy. I just want to save somebody else's son or daughter.
Now, what's your role in your chapter?
I am a survivor fellow and a mentor, and I work with the Be Smart program.
Okay.
So I kind of do the mentor role with Dara. I do. You know Dara? Do you know Dara?
I don't.
Yeah, she's does the the new SMLs or survivor fellow. I kind of like mentor them.
Okay.
Kind of like show them the ropes a little bit.
Okay. All right.
So we've been doing that actually virtually too.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, how could someone in your area or any area join Moms? Can you share that information, and especially in the area that you're in? Where are you? New Jersey?
We're in New Jersey.
Okay. And your chapter is where?
We're in Mercer County.
Okay. And how could someone join?
So we have Mercer County north and south. So we have a couple chapters in New Jersey. But if you go to momsdemandaction.org, it will put you in touch with a local chapter, or you can go to everytown.org, and that will put you in touch with, the surrounding areas of the Moms chapter.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and and anytime you see a red shirt,
absolutely.
Anytime you see a red shirt, 9 out of 10 they're with the Moms groups. Okay, Moms Demand.
Also, you have the text number for us?
Yes, it is 66443. Did I say that right? I haven't said it in a while.
64433.
Yeah, I haven't said it in a while.
It's okay. No, I just I definitely want to make sure we mention.
Yes.
That. And you can text honor, you can text join, you can even text check for backgrounds checks, depending upon what city you're in.
And I have a chapter in the book talks about honor your loved one.
Okay.
A fabulous chapter. The book is called After the Storm: Our Journey Through Grief, and is available on Barnes and Nobles and Amazon.
Okay.
Or at Barnes and Nobles, on barnesandnobles.com and Amazon.
Now, for me again, please mention the name of your organization.
His foundation is the Tre Devon Lane Foundation, tdlane.org.
And what do you do with the foundation? And talk to us about some partnerships that you've built with that.
Yeah. So our foundation is so my son was in college.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to honor him, even though he wasn't going to graduate college. I wanted to help send someone else's child to college.
Oh.
So I do a big fundraiser all year long, a gala, and we honor children at the gala. We had a black tie, and I kind of show the kids off.
Okay.
And it's a big fundraiser, and we give them scholarships.
Okay.
And what I do is I bring the kids before back to show them that the ones that graduated. So it's kind of like ongoing.
Yeah.
And then we also honor people in the community for their service, their community service.
Ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Yeah, it's called Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we have, under the umbrella, we have, I started the girls. It's called Sisters Inspiring Sisters. It's called SIS. And I teach the girls how to quilt. But through the quilting, we build friendships and character education, self-esteem.
Beautiful.
I teach them, we touch on resume, how to dress, how to be a lady, etiquette. So we touch on different facets of just being a woman.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And my husband has the boys, and it's called Project Men Empowering New Seeds.
Oh, right. Oh.
And then we have Project Dads. What is this? Dad's
being hands-on.
Yes.
And basically with the young men, we teach them etiquette, how to tie a tie, how to open the door for a young lady, how to have eye contact when you're having a conversation, the posture.
Yeah.
Basically just everyday life skills as a man, resume, just helping your community out. Absolutely. And volunteering.
But our boys, the mentoring program, he focused on the fatherless boys.
Yes.
And we even do that. Like my husband teaches them how to fish. Like things like they would never do like outside of the city.
Absolutely.
Just in their urban neighborhood. Like you don't really see too many kids from the city going fishing.
Right.
So
I can imagine that's just so much fun for you as well, and just even what you're doing with the young ladies and teaching them, just how to be women and to be empowered women at the same time. To enjoy their teen.
Yeah, like
where they are. Enjoy their age, but to have what to look forward to as becoming a woman. I really truly appreciate you guys inspiring and pouring into your community, and I know it's going beyond your community, your local community, just because the platform that you're building for yourself and telling and educating people on what you're doing. So thank you so much. What's next for your journey?
So the corona has hit our black tie, so we have to put it on focus for next year. But 10 scholarships, 8 of them have graduated college.
Yay!
So they will all come back for the black tie from the very first luncheon that we gave. I'm excited about that because now they are like little grown people now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that because they were going off to college and now they're all graduated.
Yeah.
And they stay in touch with me. I don't even ask them, but they love me so much. They stay in touch. Even when they were in college, they would send me their grades.
Yeah.
And they were appreciative. They would appreciate so much. They would tell me what they did with their money. Like they bought a laptop, they paid their dorm fees. Like they would tell me what they actually, and I actually bring them back to tell the people, my guests, what they did with their money.
Absolutely. And that's just such a great thing to have your mentees to definitely, I would definitely also, I know you say they come back and they tell the story. I would also recommend that you have them to write a letter for you.
No, they do. The thank you.
Yeah. Because gosh, that is so powerful.
Yeah, we actually do. They do write thank you letters. Yes, they do.
Yes, just because
we
work
do.
that you're doing, it's just, and hey, and another thing that I do know about the power of letter writing is that definitely supports you when you're getting your funding. So
Absolutely.
For the grant.
yes, because I mean, you need valuable information to match alongside of, getting that grant or getting the proposal or however, just being able to see the results is what
and one of the girls teaching her quilting made her want to become a fashion designer.
Oh, wow. What?
So it was like I sparked something in her where she's going to, she went to FIT.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How many? Is it 8 or 9? You said 9 that are
eight is graduated.
That is that's a good number. Good, congratulations.
Thank you.
on pouring into their lives. I know, they worked really hard towards that, but I'm sure with implementing a lot of what you empowered them to do, that probably, I'm sure that stuck with them.
My son walks across the stage with each of them.
Absolutely.
And that's how I kind of stay focused.
Yeah.
The bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because he would have been, he like, Mom, good job. I can hear him saying, Mom, good job.
Like, well done.
He'd be like,
well done.
Yeah, he'd be like, Mom, you did good. That's what he said, Mom, you did good. And then he'll throw
right. Now, you guys, you have talked so much about how you have helped everyone. How can the community support you?
So for me, right now, I'm focused on giving more scholarships. My ultimate goal is to pay for a full ride for 1 or 2 students. Full ride. I want the kids to go to college for free. No.
How would someone do that? How would somebody help you with that?
So we have on his website, tdlane.org, you can donate, or you can donate through the Tre Devon Lane Foundation at Gmail. I'm sorry, Tre Devon Lane Foundation at gmail.com for PayPal.
Okay.
You can, or PayPal or the foundation. Okay. tdlane.org or the email, the Tre Devon Lane at gmail.com.
And you have websites?
Yes.
What's your websites?
tdlane.org.
Okay. TD Lane.
www.td, T as in Tom, D as in door, .lane.org.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, do you have any other social media platforms that you would like our Grief Nation listeners to know?
Absolutely. We're on Facebook, the Tre Devon Lane Foundation, and we're on Twitter, Change Spares Life, and Instagram, Change Spares Life.
All right. And leave us again with another favorite memory of Tre.
My favorite memory of Tre would definitely have to be his smile. And when he leaves the house, he used to give me a kiss on the cheek and say, I love you, Mom.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Now, before I let you both go, I want you to just think about this for a moment. In this era of the COVID-19, it brings up several emotions that can trigger grief, like anticipatory grief, where some are concerned about a greater loss to come, like businesses, not knowing if they can pay for their bills or whatnot, or their staff, which then fuels or triggers more emotions of complicated, which can also spiral into prolonged grief, delayed grief, masked grief, or unresolved grief. What coping strategies can you share with families that are experiencing loss of safety, job loss, social distancing, quarantine, feeling socially isolated? What are those things that you can support them during this time? And how can or some things they can do to change their routines?
For us, I would say do deep breathing exercises. Watch more comedy,
laughter,
stay away from the news,
games,
because we have game night. Actually, we're on a virtual game night in about 5 minutes.
Bingo game. We're doing a bingo game.
Okay.
And then basically interacting with your family through Zoom and friends.
Yes.
Getting out, doing
a walk,
housework, yard work, planting,
and going for a walk.
Yeah. You know, because we get out early and go for walks before anything gets moving.
Yeah.
You know, and come back in and, you know, just every day, and then everyday prayer.
Yeah. And pray. Number one thing is pray.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really truly appreciate both of you coming on to It's the Miami Night Show Grief Talk, and many blessings and much success to your foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Grief Nation listeners, and thank you for tuning in to another transformative segment of It's the Miami Night Show Grief Talk. Today we give thanks filled with love and gratitude for our special guests, Regina and John Jenkins, for expressing your very unique grief journey and sharing ways of understanding the healing process. This is your girl, Miami Night, with much love and light until we connect again spiritually.
Going slow mo.
He's got me talking that grief talk.
Going slow mo.
He's got me clocking the
It's the Miami Night Show.
Hey, yeah.
Slow mo.
He's got me walking that grief walk.
Going slow mo.
He's got me talking that grief talk.
Going slow mo.
He's got me clocking the
What up, Tribe? It's Miami Night Show Master Grief Coach. Welcome to the Miami Night Show. You got me walking that grief walk. It's time for Grief Talk, y'all.
I talk about things